Have you ever really stopped to think about what makes you feel genuinely good at work? I mean, truly engaged versus, what just stops you feeling completely awful? It's a subtle thing, right? But so important. Like, why do some parts of your job feel deeply satisfying? You feel like you've achieved something, while other parts are just, well, they're just there. And if they go wrong, it can ruin your whole day. Okay, so let's unpack this. Today, we're doing a deep dive into some really foundational ideas about what motivates us at work. We want to get past those simple assumptions, the ones that often turn out to be, well, a bit off. We're going to explore the classic work of Frederick Herzberg's super influential stuff, and then we'll link that up to a related, maybe more modern idea, empowerment. If you're into organizational psychology, Herzberg's probably a familiar name, a real cornerstone. But even if not, we'll break down why his thinking is still so relevant for, anyone trying to figure out their career or lead a team effectively.
Absolutely. And what's really fascinating, I think, is how these ideas, even though some are decades old, still challenge our gut feelings about what makes a job good. We often think, oh, it must be X or Y. But Hertzberg's work kind of turns that on its head. Understanding this difference, this distinction he made, is genuinely a powerful tool, both for you, maybe thinking about your own career path, and definitely for organizations trying to build, better workplaces. It's about getting under the hood of what actually drives engagement.
Right, getting past the surface level. And yeah, Herzberg is the key figure here. He did this major research back in the mid 20th century, really digging into what gets employees fired up. And it was pretty groundbreaking at the time because the common wisdom was, just pay people more, give them better benefits, and boom, happy workers. But he found something much more nuanced. He discovered it wasn't just one scale, like a single slider from miserable to thrilled. No, he found two completely separate sets of factors, almost like having two different dials controlling your work experience. One dial, if it's set too low, makes you unhappy, but turning it up doesn't automatically make you happy. Then there's a whole other dial for that. Is that roughly right?
That's exactly it. A really good way to put it. Two separate dials. And the first set he called hygiene factors. Think of these as the fundamentals, the absolute must-haves. They're the things that don't actually give you positive satisfaction to themselves, but if they're missing or inadequate, oh, you'll definitely feel dissatisfied. They're the baseline. If they're not met, you're going to be frustrated, maybe looking for another job. But here's the crucial bit. Fixing them, improving them, only gets you to neutral. It stops the unhappiness. It doesn't create satisfaction. It's like fixing a noisy radiator in your office. You're relieved it's quiet, you're no longer annoyed, but the silence itself doesn't suddenly make you passionate about your spreadsheets here.
Ha, right. Okay. So you just expect the radiator not to clang. Got it.
Precisely. And the source material gives us some really clear examples. First off, supervision, basically how you're managed. A bad boss, micromanaging, or maybe totally absent, that's a huge source of dissatisfaction. Then there's policy. This is about the company's overall goals, the rules, the admin stuff.
Yeah.
If it's all bureaucratic nonsense or feels pointless or constantly changing, that wears you down.
Yeah. Unclear goals are the worst.
Definitely. And working conditions, the actual physical environment, your hours, the tools you have, is it safe, comfortable, or is it noisy, cramped, outdated? That matters. And of course, salary. This is a big one people focus on. If you feel unfairly paid, you will be unhappy. But, and this is key, getting a raise often just brings you back to that neutral point. It alleviates the dissatisfaction, but doesn't necessarily spark joy in the work itself.
Interesting distinction with salary. Keep going.
Okay, then peer relationships. How you get along with your colleagues, your team, a toxic team, that's a massive hygiene issue. Causes real unhappiness. And finally, security. Job security. Knowing your job is reasonably stable, the company isn't about to go under, you're not constantly worried about layoffs. That lack of security is incredibly stressful. So the main point with all these hygiene factors is, if they're messed up, you're dissatisfied. If they're okay, you're just not dissatisfied. You're at 0, not necessarily plus 10.
Okay, I think I get that. It makes intuitive sense you need that decent baseline. But I'm wondering, can really, really bad hygiene factors completely kill any motivation? Like, if the pay is truly insulting or the boss is a nightmare, does it even matter if the work itself is interesting?
That's a really critical question. And yes, absolutely. Think of hygiene factors as the foundation. If the foundation is crumbling, say you genuinely can't afford rent on your salary, or your workplace feels physically unsafe, then it doesn't matter how amazing the view is from the top floor. You can't build motivation on a foundation of misery or fear. So severe deficits in hygiene factors will absolutely destroy morale and make any motivators irrelevant. They have to be addressed first to even allow motivation to become a possibility.
Oh,
They remove the barriers to satisfaction, but they don't provide the push.
got it. That clarifies things.
Yeah.
So they set the stage.
But they don't write the exciting part of the play. So Herzberg says, okay, we stop people feeling miserable. Now, what actually does create that buzz, that positive feeling? Where does that light a fire feeling come from? Exactly. And that brings us to the second dial, the second set of factors, the motivators. These are the elements of work that do create positive satisfaction. They're the things that genuinely engage us, fulfill us, make us want to lean in. These are much more about our internal drives, our growth. Think about it yourself. When did you last feel really genuinely good about what you accomplished at work? Maybe you solved a super tricky problem, hit a tough target. That feeling is achievement. It's a powerful motivator.
Yeah, definitely. That feeling of I did it.
Right. Or what about recognition? Not just a generic thanks, but someone actually noticing your specific contribution, understanding the effort you put in, and valuing it. Being seen and appreciated for your work, huge motivator. These aren't about just avoiding the negative. They're about actively experiencing the positive.
Okay, achievement, recognition.
Hmm.
What else?
Well, there's the work itself. Is the job actually interesting? Is it challenging in a good way? Does it use your skills? Or is it just boring, repetitive, meaningless? The inherent nature of your tasks is critical. Then, responsibility. This is big. When you're actually given ownership of something, when its success or failure partly rests on you without someone constantly looking over your shoulder, that trust, that autonomy, very motivating.
Gives you a stake in it.
Precisely, a real stake. And then there's advancement, seeing a path forward, opportunities for promotion, climbing the ladder, growing within the company. That sense of progress matters. And closely linked is personal growth. Are you learning new things, developing new skills? Are there opportunities to stretch yourself, to become better at what you do, or even develop as a person through your work? These things, achievement, recognition, the work itself, responsibility, advancement, growth, these are what truly drive that deep engagement and commitment. They make you want to be there, not just tolerate being there. Which really makes you wonder, are we individually or as managers focusing our energy on the right set of factors?
It's such a clear distinction once you lay it out like that. It feels right, but like you said, it bumps up against a lot of how companies think about motivation. So what does this mean practically? Like for a manager listening right now, what's the big takeaway? Or for someone just trying to feel, happier in their own job. This isn't just theory, right?
Oh, absolutely not. It's incredibly practical. For managers, probably the biggest mistake is throwing hygiene factor solutions at motivation problems. Think about it.
Yeah.
Team morale is low, maybe performance is dipping. The manager's first instinct might be, oh, maybe we need a pay bump, or let's get a better coffee machine, or let's reorganize the office. They're focusing on hygiene.
Right, the easy to measure stuff sometimes.
Exactly. And while fixing genuinely bad pay or terrible coffee might reduce complaints, it probably won't create deep, lasting motivation if the underlying work is still unengaging, or there's no recognition, or no chance to grow. You might spend a lot of money on bonuses, but if people don't feel their work matters or that they have any autonomy, the effect of that bonus is likely to be pretty short-lived. True motivation, Herzberg says, comes from tackling those motivator factors.
So managers need to think more about job design, responsibility, feedback, that kind of thing.
Precisely. How can they make the work itself more interesting? How can they give people more ownership? How can they provide meaningful recognition and pathways for growth? That's where the motivational leverage really is. And for employees, understanding this is empowering too. It helps you diagnose your own dissatisfaction. Are you unhappy because of poor hygiene factors, low pay, bad boss, long commute? Or are you feeling meh because of a lack of motivators, boring work, no challenges, feeling stuck? It helps you figure out what to ask for or what to look for in your next role. Maybe you realize you don't just need more money, you need more responsibility or a chance to learn something new. It shifts your focus from just what's wrong to what's missing that would actually excite me.
That's a really useful lens. It helps you target your efforts, whether you're managing others or just managing your own career. Okay, so building on Herzberg, our sources also bring in this related idea, maybe a bit more contemporary, empowerment. How does that fit in?
Yeah, empowerment flows really naturally from Herzberg's motivators. It's kind of like a modern application of those principles.
Yeah.
The core idea is pretty simple, actually. It's that decisions should be made whenever feasible by the employees who are closest to the problem or the customer or the issue that needs solving.
Okay, so pushing decisions down the chain.
Exactly. And critically, without necessarily having to constantly check in and get approval from managers higher up. It's about trusting people to make the call. For managers, this means actively delegating not just tasks, but actual authority and responsibility. It requires a shift in mindset from controlling to enabling.
And how does that link back directly to Herzberg's motivators?
Well, think about it. When you're empowered to make decisions, what does that immediately give you?
More responsibility.
Bingo. A much stronger sense of responsibility. You own it. And because you own it, when you succeed, that feeling of achievement is much more profound, right? It was your decision, your initiative that led to success.
Right, not just following orders.
Exactly. And the very act of grappling with those decisions, figuring things out, maybe making mistakes, and learning from them, that directly fosters personal growth.
Yeah.
You're developing skills, judgment, confidence. So empowerment isn't just some abstract management buzzword. It's a concrete way to structure work that directly fuels those key intrinsic motivators. Responsibility, achievement, and growth. It makes the work itself inherently more engaging.
Okay, that connects really well. So just to quickly recap for everyone listening, we've got Herzberg's big idea, these two separate sets of factors. Hygiene factors, the baseline stuff like salary, conditions, security. Get them wrong, you're unhappy. Get them right, you're just not unhappy. Then you have the motivator factors, things like achievement, recognition, the work itself, responsibility, growth. These are the things that actually create positive satisfaction and engagement.
Perfect summary.
And then we layered on empowerment, showing how giving people more autonomy and decision-making power directly taps into and boosts those crucial motivators.
That's it. So maybe a moment for reflection for you listening. Think about your own job right now. Where does your energy tend to go? Are you mostly focused on fixing the hygiene stuff? Maybe negotiating a raise, trying to improve a difficult relationship with a colleague, wishing the office was nicer? Or are you actively seeking out or creating opportunities related to the motivators? How could you perhaps carve out more responsibility for yourself? Or ask for feedback that feels like real recognition? Or identify a skill you want to grow?
Yeah, it prompts some good questions. And if you're leading a team,
Same reflection, but outwards. How much of your effort is spent on hygiene, keeping the peace, managing salaries, dealing with admin, versus actively designing roles and providing opportunities that hit those motivators? How could you delegate more, trust more, empower your team more effectively? It's about consciously shifting where you put the focus.
it really is a fundamental shift, isn't it? From just playing defense, preventing unhappiness, to playing offense, actively building fulfillment and engagement. This whole discussion around Herzberg and empowerment, it really clarifies why some jobs drain us and others energize us. Okay, to wrap up our deep dive today, we always like to leave you with something to chew on.
Right. So based on everything we've talked about, here's the question. If we accept that true, deep job satisfaction really stems from things like achievement, growth, responsibility, the motivators, how can you intentionally design your own work reality or seek out opportunities that prioritize those things rather than just trying to minimize the stuff that makes you unhappy? What's one concrete step you could take, maybe even this week, to lean more into a motivator?
That's a powerful question to carry forward. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into workplace motivation. We really hope these insights help you think differently about your work and maybe find a bit more fulfillment there.